Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon ni fo bolong blabe ko.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dil fana beteata. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka ba. Ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Yes, and welcome to the Brunch, wherever you are watching us. And as usual, we wish you happy Ramadan and Lent if you are a Christian. This is the Brunch with Lavin Cham, Kerfatu Live. This is our weekly look at current affairs. This week, we will continue on matters from the National Assembly and other stories that occupied the headlines in the last 7 days. With me in the studio is the Honorable Yaya Sanyang, the National Assembly member for Latrikunda, and Sait Matty, who comes from Civic Society. He's a lecturer and he is also a researcher. Recently, you must have heard, Afrobarometer came out with a survey that touched, among other institutions, the judiciary. And you had the judiciary firing back, saying that they don't agree with the Afrobarometer research. But who normally agrees with him? I haven't seen any section that agrees with Afrobarometer. But that makes it more relevant and much sought after each time they come with their results or findings. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Good. We will go straight to the National Assembly, of course, because we have the Honorable Yaya Sanyang, who comes from the United Democratic Party, of course, the opposition United Democratic Party. In the Parliament last week, Sait Matty, you also have been following, there were a series of bills in this current session which sparked a lot of controversy. Among them, of course, is the election bill, and particularly clause 14, which dealt with diaspora voting. The clause was thrown out by majority caucus, mainly the governing National People's Party, MPs and their allies. The opposition, mainly from the UDP, wanted the clause to be in. The diaspora said it is a betrayal. And up to now, people, I can say, of good standing in the society, thinks that the clause should come back. Yeah, I meant before I come to you, because naturally, if you come from the UDP, people will think, of course, you have a bias. But let me start with Sait Matty to know the perspective of civic society. What has been the reaction? Because I know there was a coalition. Your coalition came out with a press conference where you stated that you said clause 14 should be brought back. But what do you think had happened at the assembly, and what do you think should be done to address it?
Yeah, I think the SO coalition, the Gambia Participate and Election Watch with Edward Francis Small Center, I think they were the ones that had the conference as a consortium, and I think the message that they delivered basically is the message of civil society, that diasporans are Gambians and then they have the right to vote. And for us, what we saw at the National Assembly was discussing about logistics and all those different, kind of conversations. But like Nyang Jai will say, that's not the duty of the National Assembly to think about that, because IAC is established to think about those aspects, which we totally agree with. Because for me, I've always said that the diaspora on the Jammeh, or even, whether it is the politics or outside, they've been contributing immensely in the socio-economic development of the country. And of course, I think it's an opportunity. We had an opportunity to ensure that they participate, not just to talk, but they also participate effectively. And for me, I sometimes go more radical. I say it's not only about just participating and voting, but they also need to be represented in the conversation, because of the kind of contributions that they also make it. But so for us as Gambians, they have to participate. It's as simple as that. So for the way forward is for them to. I think the bill is still under consideration. Like the civil society actors mentioned, they have to rescind their decision. They have the power to do that and then bring it back. Because I remember we had like several consultations. I participated in consultation where we discussed about the need for diasporas to vote, and that's why it got to the bill. So to remove it, we don't think that is. For me personally, it doesn't make sense, and it has to be there for us to also discuss about the logistics and how we're gonna go about that. But the first thing first is that they must be given that right to vote.
What do you think of the argument put forward by the NPP MPs and their allies that there should have been a legislation in place first, like you mentioned too. Also, it's not about being able to vote, but they must be represented.
Yeah.
And they argue that all those nitty-gritties have to be in place, logistical nightmares for the IEC. So they believe that until those things are trashed, they think that clause 14 is not.
But then how can you trust those things when you don't, because the law sets the pathway, your law sets the foundation, it sets the road for you to be able to do that. So if you remove them, for me, I don't even understand that argument, because the idea is like you have to put the law so that it can legitimize that and bring that forward, and so that they can start working on the logistics and what it takes. But what is also this logistical issues that we are talking about? Is registering people and then voting, or is it the constitutional demarcation? But the country has been, almost every year we have the stake of the nation, where the diaspora come and engage, and even at the National Assembly we see some of the things that have been supported by the diaspora through Professor Jibril Fall. So the logistic has been just for me more of an excuse rather than a real issue. But the starting point for me is having the law, and then you push forward, but not removing or bringing. How do you bring the logistical and everything else when the law is not even there? So for me, that argument is the other way around. It has to be the law, and then the other things come first. Because for us, before you are registered, the law says that this is the way you have to be registered, and that's what IEC follow. So if the law says that the diaspora must vote, then IEC will come and try to bring their regulations or bring things that bring that particular close to reality, and that's what is supposed to be done. And that's why I also agree with Nyang when he said that it's not the business of National Assembly to think about logistics. That's the duty of the IEC. Their duty is to look at, okay, what is needed, what is the budget, and then they approve, and then so we make it a reality. So for me, that's the issue. But what we are doing also, usually in this country, we forget that we can also all be in the diaspora. We think that currently we are here making the law, but tomorrow I was in the diaspora during Jame. All of us, at least some people will be out there, but you will want to participate, because the diaspora is so connected back home. They're contributing money, they're doing all those contributions. So we shouldn't, just say that they're not here and that we don't bring their issues forward, because there's not also issue about diaspora. This is the issue of Gambians that are away, yet contributing to the national development, but they have been, pushed aside.
Do you believe in what some critics said? It has to do with the fear and the perception that the governing National People's Party have, that the majority of the diaspora naturally would not vote for the NPP. So they have been disenfranchised because of the fear by the government that they probably would not support government. Of course, they came back to say, they didn't believe that is possible. Some NPP people are even saying that they believe the NPP can win in the diaspora.
Well, for me, how diaspora is going to vote and all that stuff, is for every individual, you have the freedom, the choice to pick whoever you want to pick. But because of the fear of they're not going to vote for me, or they're not going to vote the other way, should not be the reason to deny people what belongs to them, basically. And and I listened to, we had several radio programs, and most people will say that it is the fear. It's the fear factor that brings that. But people own their votes, and for me, it is up to them to give it to whoever they want, and people should respect that. It should not be the reason to deny them anything. So I don't know whether that's their thinking, that's their calculation, but that I would not get to that point. Where I am going to stop is, is their right to vote, and they should participate. Simple as that.
Are you surprised that the NPP, their allies, the NRP, the APRC, and even to some extent the other side of the APRC, which normally doesn't see eye to eye with them, all voted, for the clause to come down?
Yeah, at the National Assembly, sometimes I don't understand. That's the reality. I just don't get it. People will say this because we did surveys, and here in this country, 70% of the population want the diasporans to vote. But even though we disagree on representation or on those issues, but the majority of citizens who they are representing want these diasporans to vote. So they are not basically for me in this case, they are not representing the views of the people, because that's what they're supposed to be doing in Parliament. What are the people saying? How are we going to make that a reality? And that's what they're supposed to do. But in this case, is a
It's more of a
yeah,
party.
yeah. So but not only a party, because you're talking about the No to Alliance also.
Yeah.
I mean, so
But isn't that their obsession with everything that has to do with Jammeh?
well, even Jam is in the diaspora now, so they're saying that Jam should not vote. And they don't have it.
So they're running.
For them, they have
That's why I say I don't understand Parliament sometimes, you know.
All right, let's go to the National Assembly member, Yaya Sanyang, who, it must be said,
Amazing.
but initially it was said that you did not vote. And that's what we showed the record, that you did not vote. Now, how come you didn't even vote? You are not counted among those who did not vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, and thank you, Shed. For me, I voted. That was just a misinformation.
So you voted?
Absolutely, I
But when the
voted.
list came out, your name wasn't there.
It was there. Check the list. It was there. In fact, what happened was, I voted, and I left my seat to go to the No Alliance guys to vote.
Oh, so you went to lobby.
So if you look at the video, when I was going, that was the time I was blocked by a group of NPP NAMs that I should not go there. You understand? So this is how it happened. So that was why they thought that I didn't vote. I voted when I was recorded. Then I moved from my seat to go to NPA because I saw some of the No Alliance guys wanted to vote with us, but some of the NPP guys and some among the No Alliance guys we are telling them to bring their tag down. So that is why I wanted to move to go and stop that. So I was blocked by a group of NPP NAMs. So to go back to the real business, Mr. Cham. You know what Gambians fail to say is we have a weak parliament, a parliament constantly operating under partisan tricks and governance. So that makes our parliament a very weak one. And I always,
all of you are guilty of that.
absolutely, it's parliament, and I'm part of it. And I always tell them, when we sit here, make laws not to the best interest of Gambians. Gambians know they will go to the courts, and anytime citizens go to the court to get answers on the laws we make in the parliament, contrary to the spirit of the parliament, then we are a weak parliament. So parliament can already be stronger. So that any law you make in the parliament, citizens go to the court for answers. The court will rule in your favor. But anytime we make laws, citizens go to the court, Supreme Court, and get answers against what we made. We are a weak parliament, and that's what Gambians should fail to understand. Also, we have few characters without principle and memory. Today it is this, tomorrow it is this. But the umbrella term is partisan tricks and governance. Everybody wants to.
Major problem.
That's the major problem. Now, the issue, going to the parliament, when somebody help you to think on a particular thing, you now go to the parliament and want to defend. That is not your original thinking. No, the section 39, they're trying to talk about. Now, that has been settled by the Supreme Court. And this is why, essentially, we have separation of powers. Parliament made section 39. Diaspora must registered in the National Assembly constituency of the Gambia. There is ambiguity, and we are not precise. And the courts don't know what was passing in the mind of Parliament at the time of making that law. But group of people organized themselves, Bakar Bunjadabo and others versus the state. They went to the Supreme Court and get answers. The Supreme Court says they must register and vote. That is where that matter is settled. When a constitutional provision become an interpretative section by the Supreme Court, the National Assembly don't have right to question that again. That's why we have separation of powers. You understand? So what we did as far as diaspora voting is concerned, we have acted in excess of our legislative functions. We have. And we have, I told my colleagues, and I'm telling them every day, we have opportunity to redo. Somebody can bring a motion to resign our decision. Or after we pass this diaspora law, this election bill, citizens go to the court. And I'm very sure the courts will give them a favorable interpretation. Supreme Court, that's their apex body, of course. If they say this, why do Parliament go and do something extra? To register in the National Assembly constituency of the Gambia, as I said, Parliament were not very clear. There's ambiguity. So that is why Baka Bunyadabo and others went to the court and get answers. And the court told them you should be able to vote for and vote for somebody.
Okay, so the NPP MPs who voted against argued that there has to be a logistical and legal framework. That is, where are they going to register?
In fact, even if you go by the Supreme Court interpretation, diaspora may not even come to the Gambia to register. Diaspora, there may be not, in fact, a diaspora constituency. Come on, they can go to New York. People, Lamin Sane, where are you from? I am from Latrikunda Subject constituency. You'll be registered, and it will reflect in the Latrikunda Subject constituency data list of voters. So that is not just an explanation. You go to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Somebody there, where do you want to register? I want to be part of Kian Center. You'll be registered and your name will reflect in the voter list of Kian Center.
It's as simple as that.
You understand? It's as simple as that. So in fact, when we make primary laws, we give that subsidiary functions to institutions to improve the implementation of the law. We already gave IEC that mandate to do so. So why is Parliament asking what the IEC to do as far as their regulations are concerned? By way of a primary legislative function, we gave IEC that power to do so. So it's just petty.
They are saying that there's going to be a logistical nightmare for the IEC too, because since we are doing this, ballot, we are marble. They can't imagine, 22 ballot boxes being transported to.
I said
London and New York.
It's just pettiness.
But we are transporting our needed tools, gauges, and everything.
Exactly. In fact, some of the national events, how much money we spend in some of the unnecessary national events.
So some
that can be more important than registering your Gambian outside the country, Mr. Chair.
Some said there could be an arrangement where we can have different electoral systems. Like in Senegal, they have different election system. Some people can get to parliament through percentage your party scored. You can get a winner seat. Okay, in our case, we can, for example, we can devise voting by electronical voting only for the diaspora. If we cannot,
that is correct. The IEC will surely come out with a regulation. It's not the business of the Parliament to scrutinize further.
To be speaking on behalf of the IEC.
Exactly. We have given them IEC that function. You see, that's why I told you Parliament is just very interesting to work within politicians occupying Parliament. That is why even my committee, subsidiary legislation, they even say no to that. So you can see the conflict in politicians. Sometimes we don't even know what we want.
You bring all the confusion.
You know what we want.
They bring all the confusion and chaos.
For me, I don't think
wherever they are.
Yeah, exactly. You see, today it is this, tomorrow it is this. It's like you don't even know what you want. So it's very interesting.
The story has been told of three professionals: the architect, the doctor, and the politician. Now, the architect said his job is the first. No, rather, the doctor. The doctor said his job is the first because he deals with human beings, human bodies, and that is the first God created. The architect said, no, my job comes second, because in creating a human body, God must have used some architecture planet from chaos.
Yeah.
And the politician said, who created chaos?
That's a good analogy.
So all these chaotic things, you admit you are the cause of all this. You couldn't come together to look at the national interests.
Exactly.
But you all look for partisan politics.
Exactly.
So is it that the UDP, people like you, voted because you believe that perhaps you are in agreement with the diaspora, or perhaps you did it because you think that diaspora have a legitimate right?
I did it based on principle. I don't care how many diasporans are going to vote for UDP. I don't care about that, Mr. Chair. What I care, I did that out of because I'm principled. I just want to make sure that diaspora voted. Whether they vote for UDP or not UDP, that's another thing. But I will still tell them to vote for my party. But for them, why do we need to? In fact, so interestingly, day before yesterday, I was interacting with one minister on this diaspora voting issue. It's so bad that he was telling me we don't fear diaspora voting because we have majority in the diaspora. So I told her, why you didn't advise your national assembly to that concern? But that particular minister, I think he gave me some wisdom. He was like, Honorable, this bill came to the executive first.
Yes.
If you don't wanted the diaspora voting, we are going to delete it before it comes to the parliament. That's true. So he told me that don't think that we influence National Assembly, our national. No, that's not the case.
But that could be.
Because we have opportunity to remove it when it was in the cabinet. You understand?
No, maybe,
So
maybe you didn't ask him. They were running from the back class from that point. They said, well, if the MPs do that, the MPs take the heat.
This is why exactly when I had that conversation with that minister, some of the national assembly, I'm telling them now, you see now, executive is now running from their responsibility and I'm not telling what it is you.
Yeah, that's it. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
They can do that and still act behind the scene, influence us. But he was telling me that no, if we wanted to remove it, we are going to remove it in the cabinet, not in the national assembly.
Yeah,
so blame yourself, not the executive.
That it can still be politics at play.
What?
They don't want the back class. To get to them, they said, okay, let's push it to the MPs.
Exactly. So we are behind the scene and influence them.
What do you make of the allegations by, Jato?
Omar Jato.
Omar Jato was here. He said he saw, a meeting between the Attorney General and the majority caucus.
No, it's very possible. This is why when I was laying the foundation, I said National Assembly proceedings, when we come in to interact on this base, people were helped to think on a particular provision. It's not your original thinking. If you have no idea about it. But by the time you come to the parliament, you forgot what the person told you. You understand? It becomes so annoying. You don't even know what the person advised you on that particular clause, but you want to defend. And this is what happened. This section 39, 88 they're talking about, they were schooled on how does it affect, how do they affect each other? But when they come to the chambers, they don't understand it.
I see.
So it becomes a completely different.
So it may well be true that the Attorney General came, to freshen up their mind.
You can even see the Attorney General was there, but he was not even defending this with an attitude. You can see that relaxation on he doesn't care. So by the time that Supreme Court ruling was brought to him, but deliberately, I'm sure as Attorney General, Chief Legal Advisor of the government, he must have been aware of the Supreme Court ruling on Section 39, which already become an interpretative clause. So when his attention was put to that, he now diverted, yes, but they cannot still vote if IEC did not, create a diaspora constituency, which was seriously misleading. So it's just unfortunate, but I'm sure National Assembly members, they are under pressure now. Probably. So the next consideration stage, we may rescind our decision and restore the diaspora.
That's why I'm going to say, do we still have a chance?
We have a chance. I told you, we have two chances. One, after the consideration stage, anyone among us can move a motion to rescind the decision and restore the Section 14. Or if we fail to do so, we insist on what we have done, and citizens can easily go to the court and get answers.
Yeah. Okay. We still stay with the election bill. There was the much talk about attestation.
Yeah.
The last time many people said these attestations can be subject to abuse because it is Alkalolu and Sefolu who are allowed to attestate, and they are naturally under the Ministry of Local Government. And the minister could be a political player, especially the current minister. In that case, the assumption is that Alkalolu and Sefolu would not be able to attestate with any degree of honesty or independence. They can be coerced, by whatever means to get people attested who might not even be eligible for voters. But interestingly, the MPs, or maybe not surprisingly, majority of them, the majority caucus, wants the attestation to stay.
Yeah, I think the issue of the attestation is problematic for the issues that you raised. But I think when we had, for this bill, we had
consultation.
We had so many two consultations. First, it was, and each time, civil society has been arguing. against the issue of attestation. But then the reality in the country is also a lot of the people, especially in the rural communities, they trust their alcalos, they trust their chiefs, and they want those people to also participate in the process. So for me, those are the dynamics that also we need to look at in terms of the attestation. But I think the problem of addressing the attestation, one, we have to ensure that national documents are decentralized, even aligned but decentralized, to ensure that other people have access to it.
Yes.
And usually why we have this is because people don't have access to other documents that they use it, but it's open for abuse. You can register underage people, you can register even non-Gambians, you can use it for many other purposes. But I also think the gap is also, how do we also train this local government, especially alcalos and sefolus, in a way that they also document the people that they are giving attestation. All those things are also.
But even attestation has laws.
Yeah.
For example, there has to be what is it, five members of the elders of the community.
No, but that one was removed as well.
That is removed.
Yeah, because before the 5 members could just attest you. But after at some point, I think that was removed.
For example, if they disagree with the alcalolo, their protestations can may.
No, the attestation is only for the traditional authorities now.
Alcalolo and
Sefolo. So that's the way. But even during the consultation, I'm waiting for that. You have not reached that part of the discussion. I don't think they've reached that part.
Of course, they passed the attestation.
You
passed that? Oh, yeah, they passed it. They. Okay, let's go there.
It's
What has been the position of, because again, it is the majority caucus that wanted it to stay, and some of you want it out.
Yeah, we wanted it out because that process, you cannot trust that process now.
Yeah.
If we reverse back to 2021 presidential election, a part of the reasons we lost that election is because of illegal issuing of alcalo attestation to voters. You understand? Anybody can come from anywhere who are not Gambian citizens. But for the fact that you have that attestation with you, alcalo attestation, alcalo telling electoral registration officers he or she is a bona fide resident or citizen of my area, nobody can block you from getting.
But don't you have the opportunity to remove it when UDP, as the NPP said, of the diaspora voting? When UDP controlled the National Assembly, didn't you have the opportunity to?
No. You see, I have been for me.
This law was changed.
It was there.
It was there.
Yeah.
The law was changed by Jammeh, actually.
No, that is what I always. I agree with you on that point, and I always tell my colleagues. Yes, when we had the majority, even the law that sends our party leader to jail, nobody talk about that law.
There is the
law that Solo Sanyang was fighting. Nobody
talked about.
I always told my colleagues.
Yeah,
You understand?
it should have been the first things you should.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then we were thinking of a bigger picture, that an entire constitutional overhaul will come. That was going to take care of those things. But we failed to understand that these political relationships are not permanent.
They are not permanent.
I agree with you.
So that's what happened.
We did it out of good faith.
Yes.
Why do you want
to
piecemeal approach these things? Let's do it holistically. That was our thinking. Without realizing that anything can happen.
So you did not hesitate though to change the age limitation.
I wasn't in the parliament, and I don't know what was passing there.
That was swiftly. Nobody forgot about it.
I was not in the parliament at the time, and I don't know why that happened. If you ask me,
for us, the attestation, I think civil society, even if you look at the electoral observation reports, because people will talk about foreigners, but the problem with attestation is the underage registration. That is mostly the problem that you find.
Yeah, even foreigners too said.
Yeah, but I'm not doubting that. But I'm saying that these things were documented in terms of the underage, people that you can register. So for me, we've argued on that. But then again, most of the political parties at that time, they were in for that because the idea is
believe that not many people have
ID card or have other documents. So for that, but also with the surveys, it shows that people want attestation to be there. So for me, I don't know what to say with that.
Well, it is there. We only pray and hope that it's not going to be abused. We will not let foreigners or underage to register by way of grabbing that attestation.
Actually, what we could have now before the 2026 presidential election is supplementary registration, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's supplementary registration. Yeah, those who were not up to 18 years in the last registration, and those who clock 18 years now will be registered. That process is called supplementary.
I think there was a clause you considered too, which I think was rejected.
Continuous.
That is for fresh register of voters. I think that was also discussed in the election bill.
Do I remember that very, very well?
I think one of the argument was that if this bill comes in, I think that clause was talking about
that clause
new registration,
new
general registration process.
Of course, yeah. If this bill is, but in fact,
no, I think that was
the opportunity for us to pass this bill before election is very, very slim. I don't think we'll be able to pass the election bill before, because you have numerous clauses and we are just at close.
They said 150.
Yeah, exactly. So I doubt it. And also, if it is passed, it should be 6 months before the general election. Yeah. If it is less than that, then we cannot implement this election.
Or is it? No, I think it's the other way around. Like, you can't implement it even in 6 months before the election.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And by the look, Parliament, we are now left with 2 years or so. I think April we are clocking out 3 years in office.
Yeah.
Okay, this election bill is like, it comes one controversial clause with 3 or 4 hours deliberation. Sometimes they did it deliberately, and I'm going to mention his name, especially if the deputy speaker is presiding this election bill. At one point, I have to start on him. Don't delay national process. When you are sitting presiding over national process, why do you delay? They calculate a lot of things in mind. Deliberately, you recognize on him that he doesn't want us to progress. As a chairman, he'll be asking unnecessary questions, prolonging the debate, try to entertain every member to give their perspective, just that delay tactics.
So you believe there's still politics.
Parliament and politics. Parliament is,
but it's a political house. It's a political house.
All right. There was also this bill that was also, the Constitution Draft 2024 bill came, but then according to the minister now it is rescheduled.
Yeah.
Although he said it's withdrawn from this session, but the word they dreaded much is withdrawal. So it's been delayed until next session. And apparently it went up to a point that everybody was convinced that it will not see the light of day because of what happened. So the delay, do you think the minister wants more time to negotiate, or he must have calculated the backlash that come from the diaspora voting? The minority will not support this one. What do you think?
I'm not sure what he really wants, but I think it also should give us because for us we are in saying this opportunity where we can sit together and then discuss this way. Discuss the way forward. And recently we were around the country meeting with chiefs and all those things, and everybody complained about the lack of consultation. But they also want that before any decision is made, like National Assembly members go back to the constituencies, talk to the people, and then get their input in that process. So people will say that reject or approval. If you reject, we not ask you to reject. If you approve, we don't ask you to approve. So they want to be part of that process, and I think this might be an opportunity. But of course, I don't think the positions have changed much. Or maybe this will be an opportunity. But the reality is, the country needs that. The country needs, to move forward and move ahead. But again, last time I think somebody was, when I say that NPP and UDP, because I was looking at them as the two major ones, because you cannot, one group cannot get us a constitution. So it means that there must be trade-offs. But that is also a difficult point in this country. Politicians are more competitive than consensus builder. And that is also that's what he was talking about, partisan thinking and all those things. But how do we move beyond that? For me, that should be the question. Of course, what was done, people generally are not appreciative of that. But, now, what is the next stage for me? Now the responsibility is within National Assembly. If they reject it, we still go with the 1997 Constitution.
Honorable Sanyang, yes. What's the position in that?
My view about the Constitution, and I always tell
why do you think it's been rescheduled?
Colleagues, I'm very mindful. You see, Constitution in our order of laws is the highest. So that makes it not a simple, ordinary act of Parliament. It's more than that. It's not like Honorable Yaya Sanyang wants to amend Local Government Act, wants to amend any other law. Constitution It's not ordinary
For councillors,
parliament.
for nominated councillors.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like
Exactly. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it embodies the will of people. How do they want to be governed? How do they want to fit in the international global best practice of good governance? These are all constitution content, all of this. That is why last week I came up with an article. Let's amend the laws and citizens decide on the constitution. Because this constitution was very consultative. Both international,
Even the
and
2020.
national. The
yeah.
2020 was very consultative. So by way of that consultation, that is what citizens want. So I ask myself, if that's what citizens want, why do we have laws that will make National Assembly a passage to either reject or approve, and so that the constitution can go back to the people? I think about that. I think about it intellectually. That is not fair.
So what would have happened? It should have been put straight to the people.
Exactly. For me, so that we, the National Assembly members, we also go and queue and vote as people. How the people are going. But now we have it. We have the discretion
Yeah.
to let it go to people
Or to
or
kill it before it comes to people.
to kill. Is that fair? That's not fair. And if you look at the because
But-
for this 2020,
But I'm liking what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
for the 2020 draft, we have the 2020, the one brought to the National Assembly by the Attorney General is the revised 2020. It's not the 2020 actually. So I think we need to start from the political approach. And if civil society organizations, they did a lot of political approach to this. They did a lot of consultations with us. And at one point, everybody was like, we are okay. You understand? So I'm sure the Attorney General, they withdrew because they wanted to do
More
political
consultation. They're
consultation.
looking for yeah.
But if you ask me, as it is right now, when it comes before the National Assembly, as lawyers said, it will be killed, eliminated at initio. There's no discussion about it.
It will be killed.
It will be killed. In fact, this time it's going to be so swift. It's going to be so easy. If any media house don't go there, you even make the proceedings over.
But you want to also
What do you make of some civic society who are saying perhaps you in the minority caucus should be magnanimous and said, well, we're not going for a revenge because we've seen that, they dropped the constitution the last time, the majority caucus, and they were even celebrating.
Exactly.
Now they need you very badly.
Yeah, exactly.
They need you very badly. And the table is full. They need you very badly. Why don't you now be magnanimous and say, look, you know what?
And since he's talking about the people,
Since you are talking about the
not
people,
denying
there
it to
might
the
be
people.
there might be people who might be interested in adopting it if it gets to a referendum.
Well,
Why don't you say now?
revised-
Now listen to me. Why don't you say now? Okay, these people have misbehaved the last time, but you know what? Let us be magnanimous. Let us get it over.
Yeah, you see, that's why I said political approach to constitutional building process is the first stage. When that fails, everything fails. But the citizens also, this is not what citizens want.
Yes, that's
I
another.
can tell you that for sure. You do
Yeah.
your survey, you will know that
That's
citizens
another
don't want the 2024.
Yes, that's another.
So why are we?
That's another kind.
Why do we endeavor
Yeah.
to give citizens what they don't want?
Yeah,
It means we are imposing something
Yeah,
on them,
yeah,
and
that's-
we don't want to be there and imposing something on citizens.
Yeah.
What the citizens agreed upon was 2020 draft.
yeah.
Why the consultative extensive? Do you understand? And the citizens agree this way.
But I agree
Let them bring that.
from the uproar and the and the reactions. Definitely, the citizens don't want it.
We don't. So why?
And it will be better not to waste resources.
You know, the issue is not wanting also. It's about the fact that the 2020 they were involved. People don't even know what is in the constitution in the 2020.
No, but most
in
people
the,
now are,
in the 2024. I'm
most
telling you.
Most people now know that, for example, the president wants more powers.
Yeah, the president, those things are
Shield
And-
themselves
those
from
things,
accountability.
those things are maintained.
Most
But
people
I'm
know.
saying,
Yeah.
I'm saying the people. You see, if you want somebody to own something, you engage them.
I understand. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's the main issue for most people.
Yeah, some they don't understand it.
Even
I agree with you.
they have no like the what is inside. Some even don't have. Like recently, we're trying to do a telephone survey. People will tell us, you know, I'm not interested in constitutional discussions.
I know.
They're not interested in that.
Very
They're
difficult.
interested in something else. They don't even those that are interested. You ask them, you know, what are the changes or things that they tell you they don't know. There's so much. Even before the 2020, we did surveys. We tell you, we ask them like whether they know things that are there. Majority will tell you we have no idea,
They
we don't know. But that is the duty of all of us, politicians, civil society. How do we tell them that this is that, so that they can have an idea? That's why consultations are important. So for me, for this one, even if they had like national, regional consultations before they publish it, people will go with it because they'll say, okay, we were consulted, because the issue is about consultation, but it should not be only about that. So for me also, the other argument is there is an opportunity still for consultation. And this one is a consultation that should be led by the National Assembly. And that's what some of the civil society are arguing. That when it moves to the second stage, then you open up for consultation.
But it wouldn't have been late for...
No, it's not still late. They can still bring the 2020. They will still have the 3 months requirement to gazette, and we can deliver it because it's constitutional. You might have 3. It must be gazetted for 3.
And then somebody will.
But this one will have to be totally withdrawn. Then.
That's why for me.
And then they will bring another one. Somebody will have another complaint.
No,
for me, that's
it can never be perfect. It can never be perfect. But one thing I still advise myself is probably they withdraw and they want to bring back the 2020 draft. For me, that's my thing. I don't think very disappointed.
But they said they have not withdrawn it totally. That's what they want to say.
Reschedule. I think
they have not totally withdrawn it. They just delay it. Reschedule.
Well, then they don't want a new constitution. Yeah, you see, the political will is not there. For me, it's like Barrow administration was just they were just under some international pressure. So this is whole talkings, this whole activity is just a performance. Just to perform to those people. Yes, we have
tried, we have attempted.
Yeah, and then DDP killed it.
And that's why I told their members, if you guys are serious about the new constitution that you table before the National Assembly, that one has diaspora voting.
Yeah.
So why are you rejecting another road that has diaspora voting?
But this 2024 also has diaspora voting.
This 2024, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
diaspora voting is there.
Yeah.
So the same members.
Yeah.
We're trying to say if they are sincere.
Sincere, that is political will.
I enjoy this guy's debate.
So that's why they don't even know what they are doing. You are supporting a constitution genuinely that has 2024 that has diaspora voting. When you take a look at diaspora voting, what is your position? You don't even agree.
Interesting. Now let's move on. About the other things outside. Okay, let's we still in Parliament. The parliamentary investigation into the Russian oil saga. I don't know whether you are in the committee, but it is going
to be in the committee. That's fair. I think it's
yeah. We at some point this report, a preliminary report is coming to the plenary, but it's been postponed. We had.
Yeah, it was. What was the issue? The investigation is not finished. You know, when you embark on an investigation, it has to be conclusive. Do you understand? So you cannot just do investigation for the sake of it. So what they did was they came to the parliament to sort for extension, but the committee chair wanted to give a report. Do you understand? Partial statement, not even a report, just a partial statement.
Or shall we say preliminary?
Exactly, correct. So I subscribe to that view. That one, the investigation to be more conclusive, so that we are going to have all the actors in it, not to make it partial, where at the end of the day we may feel that somebody who
because as part of according to Mo, who is in the committee.
Yeah, he's in the committee. Yeah,
as they were as hearings continued, new angles.
Exactly. So for me, it's just natural. It's part of the process. Let them not come and give us a report that is not conclusive. How do we debate on that? How do we make genuine recommendations? So I encourage them to make sure that they have every institution that they feel is should be questioned as far as this particular investigation is concerned. I don't want to make noise about this until they give us a conclusive investigation.
But in any case, Parliament was commended, Sait, for initiating this parliamentary investigation by themselves.
Yeah, because there was a lot of I think media report, discussion, public discussion, and I think one of them took it upon them. Yeah. And sometimes this is what is expected of Parliament. What is being discussed in the public, they pick it up and then do their own, part of the work. Because at the end of the day, they're there for the people, and so sometimes people appreciate these kind of efforts. And so for me also, I totally agree that sometimes releasing things preliminarily can create more. And here in this country, people
social media is closed.
Talking about that.
Yes, so things that are not
conclusive,
concluded
before you could.
Yeah, because for me, usually, when I see reports, I go to the Auditor Generals and I don't find it there. So if I don't find it there, I said, how do they get access to this?
Yes.
But the reality is, like, sometimes we need to be patient, and processes for me, I think, are very important. And those are the things that we need to do. Give Parliament a chance. They are the ones that raise it, and they need to take their time to ensure that they are, it is conclusive, and so that they can come to the people and tell us exactly what the issues are, and not just to give us today this story, tomorrow something else comes up. So for me, that's the way it should be.
This is Brunch on Kerfatu. I'm with Honorable Yaya Sanyang of Latri Kunda, and from the Civic Society, Sait Matty. And later, if you are interested in sports, particularly football, we will be discussing the Gambia's fate in the World Cup qualifiers Africa zone, with a match coming on Monday against the Ivory Coast, and one that was on Thursday, in which we drew 3-3 against Kenya. That will be later part of the brunch. Let's stay with politics, and still we go. We deal with political matters. There is going to be a by-election in Banjul Habdai. There was one recently in Masembe in the Kiang East constituency. The UDP, your party, Parliamentary,
Yes.
came out victorious. But we heard that your party may not be contesting in Banjul. Why?
Yeah, you see, it is time, Mr. Cham, for oppositions in this country to start coordinating.
Are you calling for an opposition unity?
Exactly,
United
opposition unity before 2026. Yes, my party may not contest Banjul election, but it doesn't mean that we are weak. We are scared to go and contest. At one point, opposition need to identify each other's strength.
Abda is in Banjul South, is it?
It's in Banjul South, yes.
That is Tumanjai's constituency.
That is Tumanjai's constituency. That is correct. So we want to rethink around this by-election and make it formidable a coalition against the NPP, so that we can send message to Barrow.
So which party are you going to back there?
We are not sure of this, but I'm sure we will surely back a winnable candidate, so that we can deliver Barrow and NPP a strategic.
But UDP is not contesting.
Probably we are not going to contest.
And just because you fear you don't have.
We are fear.
You don't have support.
The biggest problem around coalition building in this country among political parties is sometimes we don't want to recognize each other's strength.
But you didn't talk about coalition in Kiang East. Now you suddenly in Banjul, you have to talk about coalition.
They are different. No, they are different. Coalition in Kiang East, Kiang East, in Masembe, we know that is a UDP, a very, very UDP stronghold. There is no question about that.
But that's not the case in Habdai.
Exactly. So what we want
Habdai is more NPP.
We want to damage the NPP confidence before 2026.
Right.
Losing Masembe by election, losing Banjul, and these are the lowest unit of voting process. That's the local councils. So if you a political party or a political organization ruling for that matter, you lose in 2 by-elections, 2 consecutive by-elections at the ward level. So the message is that will demoralize their confidence. They will not approach 2026 with a lot of confidence, because if you can lose by-election at ward level, and this is where voting pattern starts. So we want to. That's the signal.
So you are working on a scheme to get the opposition united.
Exactly.
Against the NPP candidate in
exactly, to completely demoralize them.
But which party may you eventually? The PPP, for example. We might end up having 2 PPP candidates, because the PPP now is 2. I heard that the Keba Jallo faction have taken a form, and the Usman Madike Fall section have already taken a form.
I'm not privy to all of this information, but one thing I know, the opposition, we cannot allow 2-3 opposition to contest in that area. That might not be very.
But how tangible, concrete is this proposal for a opposition approach, united approach in the?
It is. We are working on this, and I'm sure at the end of the day, oppositions will agree to file only one candidate against NPP. That's what I'm very optimistic about that.
But then the people will say that MPP perhaps is braver than you because Mesembe is your stronghold, yet they come there and then contest against you. And now what is seemingly their stronghold, you are trying to say, and do this and that and that and that.
Wrong. I'm just saying it practically. They might be afraid of MPP say, well, you got that, we got that.
From the context. You see, UDP is also engaged by other opposition parties.
Okay.
Do you understand? Masembe, we are not engaged.
But they support
they
express support.
So therefore, if it is Banjul now, it's not that we are scared to contest.
If it was Banjul,
But it's a political existence for 10 years.
Yeah.
So we cannot be scared to contest. But what we want to organize. Opposition should be very organized towards 2026, and we want to make this ground as.
Are you now sending signals to Barrow that there is a possible?
Exactly the signal we want to send him. Be careful, opposition in this country are coordinating.
He also has his own coalition. You know, like the
No, that's a collection. That's a collection because that's not a coalition. That's just a collection.
APRC, NRP, you know, so 2026 might be an election of coalition.
And as far as the election bill is concerned, he might get no to alliance too.
Oh yeah.
If you talk about the diaspora vote.
I know 2026 will be very critical for this country. That I'm very, very sure. But one thing I always tell people, NPP is an opposition in waiting. Yes.
You think their era is finished in 2026?
So completely finished. There is nothing that can restore.
On the contrary, they said they are going to beat you even more resoundly.
Well, that's why I say 2026 will be very critical. Yeah, it's very interesting as well.
All right, let's bring in civic society in this other topic. The McCarthy Square, the office of the president wrote to the BCC and said they're going to take it over, mainly for maintenance and security purposes. The Banjul City Council are up against that idea. People said, well, you know, in fact, what does it matter if it is for maintenance and security? Why the BCC making noise? Let them give it to the OP. And the OP people are saying, well, you know, for security reasons and for its proper maintenance, perhaps it should be on the OP. What do you make of it? Because I know Yaya will definitely throw the line.
No. For me, I mean, I see it. The other day I was somewhere and I was talking about the issue between central government and local government. This is, for me, I look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, the center.
And, you know, this city council has been there, especially under Jame, where security concerns and all those things were very, you know, into his head and all that stuff. But to use that now it looks funny, especially, you know, knowing what the kind of context, you know, we live in. And I listened to the, you know, because the McCarthy Square is seen as part of Banjul and as an identity of Banjul. Yeah. And, you know, even if you look at the way Banjul is approaching it, it's not approaching it from a political lens, but as well, this has been with us for this long, and why are you going to take it? Why are you going to take it away from us? For me, if there is a problem of maintenance, you know, and all those things, for me, I think the Office of the President should in fact support Banjul to be able to maintain that. Whatever security considerations are there, they need to also try to work with them to fix that, but not to say we are taking this over. Already they have created an extra layer of with this what coordinator something. That's why I'm saying, like, you know, this Banjul, what the KMC and Banjul administrative area administrator coordinator. So this also, you know, creating so many of the structures. So what are they going to do with that? Are they going to remove this from this, who they perceive as UDP, and then give it to that? But I think the way that Banjul is approaching it should be the way, because that is not only about
they are united.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the response from the deputy mayor. The deputy mayor, because I think even yesterday I was listening to his tape, and he was talking about the fact that, you know, he was the one that received the message from the OP. Yeah, from the OP, and then, you know, started the engagement.
So you mean the Banjulians felt that, well, this is one thing that they feel should stay in I mean, it should, Banjul.
Yeah.
No matter the disagreements or political.
I don't see it's a symbolic aspect. Of course, you know, there are gaps. There are, you know, so many buildings in this country are not maintained properly. If that is the issue, and you know, but perhaps what we need to do is try to see how we can do that. But the people that are working there are employed by Banjul. So what is going to happen to those people again? So for me, I think sometimes, you know, this is just it shouldn't even get to that.
What do you make of argument? Because according to Demba Jao, he saw contradictory messages. For example, he quoted the Minister for Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff saying that the Square had never been on the BCC. When actually he said the letter that came from Secretary of Cabinet informing the BCC said, well, in view of the fact that we have maintenance it, we want to thank you for all these years for all your work. Yao said this suggested that it had been on the BCC.
But then BCC employ people to work there.
Yeah,
they've
it
been
definitely
maintaining
has
it. So if it is maintenance, they've been doing that already. I mean, if it is not enough, you want to give it another facelift, work with the council. I mean, that's what they need to do. It's not just to take it away from them just like that, because it's also seen as like, instead of you empowering us, you are trying to limit our influence and our engagement. So those are things that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, I'm sure you will automatically side with the mayor and the Banjul City Council for political reasons. But I want you to take your political lens and argue here. What do you think? Did you think the OP acted wrongly?
You see, one thing we need to appreciate, Mr. Chair, dictators' playbook is at work, where characters
See where he's coming from.
where characters read their lines, cram it, and the stage is now set for performance. And Gambians are going to refuse this with an attitude. Now, if the coordinator can say this, the other authorities in the same government can say otherwise. So that's what we're telling Gambians. See, we've seen lately Barrow government is a loose confederation of government with no, standing or reliable authority. If the Yao can say this, the chief of staff can say otherwise, serving the same government, there's a confusion. And I don't think BCC people, that's what I was telling their National Assembly member. Our courts are free and open. Go to the courts. Because for me, Makat Square is so symbolic. It's a historical ground for the people of Banjul.
And what makes people
It's their pride.
What makes it suspicious is that, according to Jao made this observation, a similar thing happened in Basse and in Brikama too. Where they say the central government taking the market from the local government and putting it under the governor in Basse. You remember that happened there before?
Yeah.
Local government act.
So, so people are suspicious.
And this is why I say, like, there's a lot of politics instead of focusing on the people. There's a lot of politics between the central government and local government, especially where the
the problem has to do with cohabitation. I mean, that's where we have a problem in this country.
You see,
because the central government cannot accept the fact that the local, the local municipalities are going to be run by people from the opposition. That's where the problem is.
No, but then the issue is, it's the people that elect, it's the people that vote who they want. For me, whoever the people vote, that's what the people want, and that's the baseline. So you cannot come and start removing one here, start removing the other thing. But I think there's a bigger problem also, especially with local government. Like most of the places, also some of them they say they don't have the deeds, custody and all those different issues. But these are things that needs to be aligned.
But they don't have subvention from the central government.
So for me, these are the issues, and because local government is supposed to help deliver development to the people. And now if they are thinking about, creating new spaces for the children to play, because, the Makati Square has all that. And it's now Office of the President is going to create this space for the children to go and play. That's supposed to be job of the local government. And so for me, I don't see any reason, for them to just wake up and say, oh, we want to take it away, from them. And that's not fair at all.
Well, the latest information we had that there's some activity behind the scenes to come to a common agreement between the council and the office of the president. That's what we had. We don't know much.
Well, I don't even think government of the Gambia has any card to play in this issue, and I don't think Roy Malik Law will allow what negotiation.
We had there's some.
Yeah, I don't think the council.
Maybe they realize
that the only negotiation the council should allow is for the government to retract their decision. That's the only negotiation they should accept.
And then give them money if they want maintenance.
No, even the subvention. They are not giving the local councils subvention to do so. Look at Basse. They don't even pay their.
They allegedly denied that.
And now Gambians are beginning to see the light. Who is a serious political organization? All the councils under us. are performing. But all the councils that are under the NPP are not performing.
Well, on the contrary, the NPP said most of the scandals are coming from under your council.
What scandals?
Well, the Commission of Inquiry, they said.
No, Commission of Inquiry, give me an example.
Oh, well, like recently they were on Banjul, I said.
They're on Banjul, but these are unverified allegations against the mayor. These are unverified. These are unverified. And even in law, you cannot establish something against somebody.
Well, it's a process.
If you don't bring the person, if you don't bring the person,
and also most of the problems are unearthed by the commission are committed by administrators, not appointed.
Well, one thing also,
I
want to be very mindful. This is a sub-judice issue.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we should open that for discussion.
That's not discussion. But then, it comes to the point that the government will always argue, oh, you see what's happening on the commissions, that's why we did not trust the local government.
No, you see,
it's always political. Ping-pong politics.
Yeah. Well, because we have
we had the
provincial councils and all the major councils are with us.
We had the UDP also say, well, the problem was from people you appointed, not us, our mayor. So
they give them the head and then remove the I mean, for me, I'm very passionate about local governance because I feel if it is well coordinated, if it is well worked out, people will start benefiting from the state.
I agree with you.
Because they are the ones that bring development to the communities.
I agree with you.
And those are the things that has to be there.
I agree with you.
But like we have been put into so many unnecessary
look at even the KMC road initiatives.
Yes.
Central government is just blocking
their
trying to bring
council from construction.
Exactly. Imagine development that is going to directly impact the lives of people.
Yes.
You think there is politics attached to that? But no, they are still frustrating KMC to embark on that road construction. And I'm sure residents of KMC are very aware of this.
Well, that's another angle of politics. Very good. So let's go to Parliament back again. When do you think the constitution, the 2024 draft, which has been rescheduled, when it comes in June, would we expect that a different atmosphere in the National Assembly or in the country, the time when the government perhaps think that the situation may change, set?
Well, I mean, like, you cannot just put something hoping. For me, that's why I said, for me, as civil society, we just want people to sit and discuss about the issue. And I don't, that should be the way. If that's what they're thinking, that's what they have to do. But eventually, it's not, only the government or the other side that wants it that will get it, because they don't have the numbers. So it means that we need to have a national approach to it, engage the people, discuss. If the people say reject, government and everybody, nobody has any, other alternative but to reject that and then to think about it. But for me, the major issue is our transition hasn't taken shape until we get a constitution, and we can continue to delay it as much as necessary, but at least we must sit and discuss. So for me, what I just listened to him, I'm not seeing anything that will change, because they are the ones that have the power. They are not the ones that are going to vote, and the way that they vote is likely the way it's gonna be. But I hope that they they reconcile.
What do you expect, Honorable, from now again?
Well, one thing we know, this time around, NPP cannot bully us with their majority. This time around, that's not going to be the case.
I didn't want to hear about it.
And number two, if every National Assembly member engage in consultative process in your constituency, you will know what Gambians want.
Yeah.
So I think National Assembly members should go and ask their people. If you do that, Mr. Chairman,
explain the constitution to them and listen to it.
Exactly.
Yes.
They will, because they will definitely accept 2020. So taking it to the political house, as Sait rightly read my Dimino, we are not allowing it to go. Because we want to preserve the interests of Gambians.
Okay. That's what every politician.
But then the interest of Gambians say we don't want the 1997 constitution. What is the interest of Gambians then? For me, that's the thing I don't ever get.
That's a philosophical question. Now, what do you do now?
Well, you wrote a philosophical paper, so I want
so now.
That is a question now, because
Gambians, no, I can answer it.
Yeah.
Gambians don't want the 1997 constitution. That's why they prefer the 2020. So bring that to us.
But also, during the
but you don't mind you get stuck with the 1997.
Remember the 2020 constitution, the kind of tension it generated, the secular debate, all those different. So is it there a possibility that bringing that will also reignite that same debate, because we are not hearing that debate in this 2024 draft?
I think that was left.
That one was addressed. So those are addressed. In the 2024.
You see, that's where our position is. In fact, we are not saying that 2020 is another perfect one, but we want to, whatever negotiations we're going to embark on, it must be around 2020.
Yeah, that's
So
what.
it's just
That's the problem.
Exactly, that's the problem.
They say it must come with its problem.
Exactly,
But then not a different one.
Thank you very much. That's our position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sait, the judiciary were up in arms, against an outcome of a report, a survey done by Afrobarometer.
Yeah.
Let me ask, Honorable, how often do you agree with Afrobarometer?
I always agree with them because they always take their time to go and consult people who matters. You understand? The locals. You understand? But for the judiciary, I'm a lawyer, and I don't think I will want to comment about that. You understand?
Well,
the
survey seem to have cast a doubt on their integrity, according to what it says on people's perception of the judiciary.
One thing I know, I interacted with most of the judges at the bar school, and they are judges with high integrity. I can tell you that for sure. They are judges that I am sure will not compromise because they have proven track record of maintaining such integrity. So I am not saying that it's a perfect system. I will not also be reckless to say it is perfect. You understand? Well, the few judges I know in the judiciary on the bench, I don't think they will want to compromise their integrity for anything, because as I said, they taught me in the bar school, and I know how diligent they were, how serious they are with regards to marking the scripts of students. They don't care who are you, where do you come from, or how do you come to be as you are. And by way of that, I know that they will not also damage their integrity at any point in their judicial proceedings.
Sir, let's hear what exactly the survey from what people who have been interviewed said exactly about judiciary. Let's go back.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for the before I quote wrong numbers. So but basically the starting point is that Afrobarometer is perhaps new in Gambia, and but it's not new. It's been around since 1999, and for the first time this round, with round 10, we have round 1 to now we are round 10, and so round 10 this time we introduce a new model. And this new model is called access to justice. It's not access to the judiciary. It's access to justice. And access to justice is not only the judiciary. It's about what are the mechanisms that are in place and whether people are accessing those, and what are the challenges and all those things. So basically, that survey, that's what it highlighted. And so we had a battery of questions, several questions that we asked them, whether can people obtain justice in the courts. That was one of the questions. So this time, this was also the round 10 for us, which is round 4. The fourth survey that we did in the country.
Yeah.
So what we do is not like we don't go to the judiciary and then ask them questions here and there.
Yes.
We go and ask the people. What they think about this, what they think about Parliament, what they think about that. Because if you're delivering service, there's a supply side and there's also a demand side. So we go to the demand side and see whether they are happy with the process, whether there are things, whether there are gaps that they want to fill. And that's the kind of feedback that we wanted to give to them. But of course, it comes with different. So the first one is, can people obtain justice for the courts? And in general, the question that we asked was, in general, how confident? We asked the person, how confident are you that ordinary citizens who are wrong can obtain justice in the courts?
And then?
Very confident. 16% say they are very confident that they can obtain that. 28% say somewhat confident. And you have 35% that say not very confident. And you have 19% that also say not all confident.
So only 16 said they are confident of this.
They are very confident. So you see, there's different levels also. Some people are very confident. That means that the 16% that are very confident, they will always go to the courts to seek justice.
But no matter how confident they are, the majority...
Yes, so majority, about 19 plus 35, that is like 44%.
Say they are not confident.
Yes, that they are not very confident or not at all confident.
I see.
You know, in terms of that.
That's why the judiciary
but then you have
worried.
Yeah, but then that is why what they need to do is, these people are not confident. How do we make them to be confident of this system? You know, that's the issue.
Let's listen to what they say. What do you say to their argument? Their argument is that your report presented an imbalanced, misleading picture. They said it needs to be emphasized that the judiciary covers only the courts and no other institution within the justice sector. Yet too often the report blames the judiciary for matters falling outside its responsibility.
I think
for example, the assumption that the judiciary determines who appears before the courts and for what crimes reflects a fundamental misunderstanding. The responsibility rests with prosecutorial authorities, not the judiciary. For example, now, if people said, okay, somebody has committed a crime, but I see the person still walking in the street, released on bail by the police, or not been prosecuted by the Attorney General, you blame the courts for that.
You see, that's why I said they have to read our report, but maybe they miss the methodology.
Oh. Okay.
So you see, and that's why I was saying that the report was not about access to the courts or access to the judiciary, but access to justice.
Yeah,
and justice, that's why we asked. Let me come. There's another question that we asked about even NALA, legal aid service. They talk about that, but we don't, we know that they are not responsible for legal aid, but people must access legal aid. And who is giving legal aid? It's not the court. Is it the courts? Is the NALA?
Yeah. Not what you said. For me, if access to justice was what your findings was premised on, well, I don't know why the judiciary acted.
Yeah, because that's why I said that they're the ones that misread our report.
Access to justice starts from even individuals' willingness
to go
to the police station.
In fact,
how many police stations government will reach accessible to citizens are all access to justice?
Let me say that there was one question where do we say where to go to resolve a legal problem.
Okay.
And the question we ask is, if you have a legal problem, like a serious complaint against a business or a member of your community, where would you be most likely to go to try to find a resolution? And majority say the police. 31% say the police. Elders and traditional leaders or court, 20%. Family members, religious leaders, 6%. Some say prayer God. And then you have the courts, a lawyer or a local court, and nowhere. But we also look at the challenges the reason why people are not going to the courts is the cost. The issue of the cost. The other question we asked, ability to find and afford legal support, for instance.
Yeah, but then when your report said confidence,
access to justice.
This is access to justice. That's why I keep saying.
So you are saying that it is generally access to justice.
Yes, exactly. Citizens go to the police station.
The judiciary argued that while the report suggested that only 44% of citizens are confident that ordinary people can obtain justice in court, court filings by being consistently rising by 30% annually is a strong empirical evidence that citizens continue to rely on the judiciary to resolve disputes. So you're trying to say that
the question that they should ask is that because there is increase in court filing, that doesn't mean that citizens' perspectives about the court.
But why would they go to court? Why would they go to court if they don't have confidence?
No. Yeah, the issue is people can go to court. You can have criminals, maybe police taking them, land cases, they go to court. Things that they are forced to do, but here is talking about the voluntary, the willingness to go there voluntarily. That is not the issue. For me, I feel the judiciary should read our report and then look at it and say that it is access to justice. And even sometimes some of these issues that we are talking about are access to finances, and we know that those things are not the responsibility of the judiciary. That's why when they voted out the judicial bill, I was not happy. I said, you see, you want justice, you want things to happen, therefore you need to give them money, give them resources to do that. And they complain about having so many cases. That's not the issue of the citizens. Citizens, when they have problem with the law, they want the court to solve it as quickly as possible and then move away. So for us, we are interested in the views of the citizens before the court. And to tell them that we did not they say we did not consult them. We do not consult anybody because we are an independent group, and what we are doing, we are trying to amplify citizen voices, and that's what we are doing. So anybody who is happy, but we are happy that they reacted because at least that shows that what we are trying to amplify, it has reached them.
Well, who wouldn't react when you said people don't have confidence?
I mean, the people that say it, and I respond.
I don't know you. Thank you very much, Sait Matty from Afro-Barometer. Honorable Yaya Sanyang from Latrikunda. Thank you very much. I was going to ask the Masembe by-election, but your people said you went with $4 million today.
No, that's misinformation. So my last statement.
The MPP went with $6 million. Let's say you went with $4 million.
I don't think even our party budget.
It's
Sitting in the banks right
How you going to run the 2020? They say you went with a lot of money.
You said you went with $6 million. They say you went with...
Final note, Mr. Cham. One thing I just want to make clear to my fellow National Assembly members: let us not have this belief core. All our proceedings are insulated from constitutional and judicial scrutiny. Anything we do there is not a closed book, and citizens can definitely go and challenge us. So let's do things to the best of our ability in the interest of the nation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Yaya Sanyang Latikunda, and from the CSO, yes, I have Sait Matty. Thank you all both for being on the brunch. The brunch will continue, like I said, to look at football. The national team is involved in the World Cup qualifiers. We had a match day before yesterday, and we'll have one on Monday. But what are realistically our chances to get to the World Cup? All that we will look at when we come back. Welcome back to the brunch. Parliamentary. Now we turn the program to look at matters of sports, and particularly football. The Gambia national team was in action the African Zone World Cup qualifiers against Kenya. And on Monday, the team will take on Ivory Coast. And like I said, the campaign is for qualification to the 2026 World Cup. So having been with me in the studios, sports gurus in the media. On the right hand side is Momodu Gajaka from the QTV group, and Humble Vicente, of course, everybody knows him. The versatile Humble Vicente Gomez is with us here, and he's wearing, as usual, more than one cap. Musa Sise is on the far left. He is just recently the president of the Sports Journalists Association, the immediate past president and a member of the African Body for Sports Press. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Gajaga?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. My first time. And it's good to be here to talk about the game that we love most, football, especially when the Gambia is involved.
Good. And if you don't recognize me now, it's Vicente who came up with this cap that I should wear. We'll get into that. Right, gentlemen, where do we stand in this campaign now? Gajaga, take us.
Yes, I think it's getting harder and harder, more and more difficult from the 2-0 lead that we had against Kenya and through it 3-all, just a point instead of 3 points. It was just about 36 seconds before the end of the game. We could have seen out the game, but unfortunately, it ended the way it ended. So it puts us in a position which is very, very difficult. I wouldn't say impossible, because mathematically we are still there. 5 more games to go. That's 15 points if we win all our matches. That's the remaining matches. But who are we playing against? We're still going to play Cote d'Ivoire on Monday, and then we'll be playing against Kenya in the return leg. We'll be playing Burundi, and we'll also be playing Seychelles, whom we've dominated and beat them in the first leg by 5-1. So for me, it's going to be very tough for us to make it to the World Cup, because it's only one spot. Winner takes it all. That is, the group winner eventually qualifies for the automatic spot, because for the second place teams, that one is going to be harder. If you are the best in Africa, you will be paired with the best of the other continents. So I think realistically, Gambia would find it very difficult to get something out of this World Cup qualifiers.
You know, traditionally, it is a taboo for journalists to say, well, we are out of it. I came on the serious criticism when I did it in 1995, I believe, when we had Ghana and others in the Cup of Nations. And after our draw here, I said, well, I think we are out. Most people felt that was unpatriotic. But, you know, if you look at it generally, from the very beginning, do we even have any chance of making it to the World Cup at this stage with this squad? Or is it not, or is it that it's a crime to think big? Vicente, come in here.
Well, as Gajaga said, it's impossible. It's difficult, sorry, but not impossible. And on paper, honestly, you would definitely say Ivory Coast have already qualified.
Almost.
On paper. That is to say, because of the pedigree, and they are the African champions, defending at the moment.
Yeah.
But by and large, football is played on the pitch.
Exactly.
Not on paper, not in the boardroom, not on commentary as we're doing right now in the studio.
Yeah.
But also it depends on the quality, the drive, the discipline, and of course, the commitment of the players. Yes, the Gambia really is definitely not bereft of talent, of recent. In those days, when we used to participate in the America Cup competition, among others, we had definitely raw talent. But maybe they were not just lucky or fortunate to get to the African Cup of Nations. We've been to African Cup of Nations back to back in Cameroon and Ivory Coast. And we ended on a high note against Cameroon. Nobody thought that we were going to play the way we did. And in somewhat like, if we had played that way in our previous games, we might have gone through. Now, we played against Kenya. I honestly celebrated even before the last whistle. Gajaga is here, my colleague and others. I've shared on certain platforms that, oh, congratulations to the boys for the 3 points. And that was before even the third goal came, the equalizer, and I was like, wow. Then I said, what has McCarthy done to McCarthy? What do I mean by this? When I was playing football, my colleagues, friends, and brothers are watching, they used to call me Benny McCarthy because I used to play almost the same role with McCarthy. You know, he was a flag player and swift and very, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I knew that this game was not going to just be physical or on the pitch, but it's going to be mental. And honestly, Kenya showed us that it is not over until it is over. And the goals they definitely scored, where if you ask me, I won't call them defensive errors, but blunders. And I believe if we really avoid some of those, we can go far. Against Ivory Coast, honestly, on paper, we are just going to play for playing sake. But it depends on the players to prove us wrong. And they can definitely win Ivory Coast, and it will surprise all of us. And some will again say it's a fluke. No, it's not. We've got the players. Yes, they may be young, they may be quote-unquote in smaller leagues in Europe, or actually inexperienced, but this is all about the 90 minutes, and sometimes plus the extra 20 minutes or 30. Let our players know that they are actually representing the red, white, blue, white, green. And if they know that, and they know the people behind them, and they know the money, small as it may be, that is invested in their campaign, they will not continue disappointing us. Now, whether the coach brings in the right team or not, whoever is there, for me, the fact that you are called upon, you are honestly ready and definitely prepared to represent the country. So it is up to you to go there and assess yourself. And at the end of the day, when the score sheet is out, you would have known how much you've put in that 100%. Maybe your contribution is just 20%. Are you fair to the nation? Are you fair to the coach? Are you fair to your own teammates? So the players now should do self-accountability, where they may be called upon, and if they know they cannot deliver, they tell the coach, excuse me, I can't come this time around. I'll come in the next call because I'm not at this level. And let's be honest and fair to ourselves. So for me, it's about the players going there on Monday and honestly know that the country is watching. The young ones that are denied whatever it is in their education, in their health, and so on, and given to them, should definitely know that their sacrifice is worth it, and they must definitely sacrifice for the nation and for the generations to come.
Yes, Musa, as Gajaga reminded us, we are halfway.
Yes.
More or less. We all have played 5 matches. Ivory Coast is on top with 13 points, Gabon 12 points, Burundi 7 points, Kenya 6 points, Gambia 4 points, Seychelles Islands 0 points. So we are 4 points. That is a solid 7 points adrift of the top teams, Ivory Coast. Mission impossible. You think?
Chan, thank you. You may say so, yes, why not? Because that's what you can live by at the moment as we speak.
That's right.
You know, sometimes it's not just about a game to decide your fate or two to decide your fate. It's a series of games that's going to decide your fate and that of others who are well above you in the table. What you want or what you're looking for is what they have already.
That's right.
And a good example is what we had against Kenya. We had these things in our hands we let go.
Exactly.
Yes, now take us through there. What exactly thing?
Let's be technicians for a second. Now, of course, I as an ex, I seldom want to play or talk hard about players because I know it's a difficult.
But you've been a player yourself, so you can say something about
my reason. I'm going to be very economic and respectful.
Going to be sympathetic to the player.
I know, because if you, of course, but you cannot do that by being analytical in this sense, because you must look at every individual players. I mean, if we have to rate them,
exactly,
the lowest amongst them on that given day is the weakest link, or was the weakest link in this thing, and must have been responsible for what we are talking about and what happened.
That's true.
And of course it is, but that wasn't what he was brought in to do in the game in the first place. True. Because when changes came in, you're supposed to come in and solidify, add, protect,
accelerate.
At least you're still protecting him by withholding them.
I don't have anything to do with but I'm just allow me to.
Let's say it was a defense.
It's defensive, it's offensive.
Yes.
And of course, most importantly in this kind of games that we're not talking about, Cham, games need to be managed.
Yes.
The match was very, very, very poorly managed when you are 2-0 up with 73 minutes on the clock.
Thank you. Yes.
True. The type of players you need to kill in, you need to frustrate your opponent very seriously. You need to be aggressive, you need to be cautious, you need to be protective of what you have. And that's what we failed to do completely.
So you bring the coaching issues out.
I mean, you see, as I said, I don't want to be technical, but I will do that because that's what costs us the game. If the match was managed, the game was managed at that level, we would not have been talking about the scoreline. It would have been different completely. We've been cheering the boys, talking with using different adjectives to describe what happened. But unfortunately, it's the other way around. 2-0 up. The introduction of Ibrahim Adabo brought in the penalty. He gave away the last goal. I want to believe, and of course, these are some of the things that people were saying. I mean, I saw, feeds on social media and so on and so forth. His body language wasn't even prepared for the game. I mean, were they fasting? I don't know. Did it took its toll on them? I don't know. But what's important to note in here is that we will all agree on one thing.
Yes.
It was poorly managed.
True.
Our strategy, didn't work. Even though the players were there, they played, the goals were fantastic, they played well. But you were not Brazil. Brazil is the only team that goes out to say, you know what, score us as much as you can, because we will score you by that one single goal. And that's what we want, just to win you.
Very true.
We don't score many goals in our games, but we concede many goals. Are we trying to see how best we concede? The last time, Tom Sanfei, whatever his critics would tell him, fine. He has a game plan. It doesn't matter. He will defend and then would use a counter to hit you and then seal it up. There is no nice way of winning a game or ugly way of winning a game. Do everything possible to score the most ugliest of goals, to score the most controversial of goals. It is not for you to decide. What matters is your 3 points. However, whatever you can do to get them, that's what is expected of you. And we failed to do that against Kenya.
So the end justified me. Yes. What is Gambia's problem when it comes to keeping advantage? Because what nearly give Vicente and others heart attacks.
Yes.
Last minute equalize.
For me, it has to do with a lot of factors. Let's look at our defense. Our captain now, Omar Koli, I think he's past his best. To be honest, age is cutting up with him.
That's true.
He doesn't have much playing time at his team right now, and some of the previous matches that he played for the Gambia, starting from the AFCON, were not good enough. I think that's a weak link in the defense. And also, if you look at the Gambia's team setup in general, whenever we lost possession up front, the players, you can count 1 or 2, 3 players who would track back.
Yes.
And in modern football, at the highest level, you have to do that.
That's right.
That's extra work rate.
Yeah.
Each and every player would have to contribute to the team's success.
Exactly.
You're just not an offensive player. It's not good enough for you to be able to dribble past players and to be able to score goals. If you lose possession, you have to track back. And we see a lot of that is happening in our team. Their tracking back is not good in terms of defense, the contribution. I've asked the coach several times in the press conference, how are you going to address this defensive problem that we have, especially in set piece situations?
Yeah.
Okay. The third goal that we conceded was from a throw-in. That throw-in almost appears like it's from a corner kick. Because the way the ball came into the box and then it drops, Ibrahim failed to clear, and then the Kenyan player was there to score the third goal, the equalizer. So defensively, the team is not up there. And that is definitely something that the coach needs to work on. So I see a lot of lackadaisical attitude. For me, I have to be very blunt here. In the players, you see certain players, they lose possession and they stand. What are you waiting for? You're playing for your country. It's the highest level of football when it comes to World Cup qualifiers. So you have to give your best. And it's for 90 minutes. There is no margin of error.
That's right.
Yeah, these are some of the things.
So it's look at what we gain. We call it the new generation. We said we now have a team that are adventurous, and I mean they go in for goal unlike Tom's days when we're just better known just to defending.
That's right.
When we get goals, but when we fail to defend them,
Right.
If I could just jump in here, the statistics are the last qualifiers we scored 6 goals. The AFCON, just the recent AFCON qualifiers that we didn't manage to qualify.
Yeah.
We scored 6 goals and conceded 6.
Yes.
So that's a goal difference of 0. Yes.
Yeah.
So the game against Kenya also we scored 3 and conceded 3.
If we call it an improvement that we are adventurous and get goals,
That's right.
we definitely have to admit that we have to learn how to
Defend
defend it and keep the advantage.
I agree entirely. Personally, for me, I'm honestly interested in football. When I say football, let the ball, move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yes, you can win by just scoring, and you may not have good,
you may
good
not have
football,
good football.
which is okay for some people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these players are not only playing definitely to win; they also play to fit in certain clubs outside of the national team. Now, for me, once you're a professional, regardless of where you are from, right? It's like a curriculum. You attended Gambia High School and he was at Nusrat and he was at St. Augustine. Well, the curriculum is the same.
Yeah.
And you master the curriculum. You have no problem, you coming together and still performing. So yes, coaches may have their different techniques, their tactics and whatever. But these are some of the players that play together here in our own league before actually going abroad. So if anything, they might have been introduced to different techniques and tactics by different coaches. But any one of them that is applied, they should easily fit in because it's the technique or tactic they've already been exposed to. So what we are saying here is, for me personally, it has to do with the commitment of some of the players. Gallagher mentioned something. You see, if you invite me, like if the way you invited me, if I were not in a position to talk about this, I'll tell you now, excuse me. Can you please invite Musa or Gajaga, because I know that's their domain. So we should be honest in whenever we are invited, even players, and we know we are not at our best. We've not been actually playing regularly. We are honestly not ready for that game, psychologically and physically,
Excuse yourself.
emotionally. Excuse yourself. It's not a crime. The crime is you accepting and coming and not delivering expectation. Because those watching you will know that this is not Musa. No, Musa is a place better than this.
In response to that, as Vicente mentioned, all these players are taught basically what is, even before going to their various clubs,
Exactly.
what is
The
it that is
basics.
expected of you at this level of football.
That's right.
If you look at a good example is Yankuba Minte and how his game has transformed
Brilliant.
from offensive player to now even a more defensive player. How he
Exactly.
contributes to his team's defense.
Because it's fit.
It's like what Gallagher said.
you have to be involved.
Exactly.
And even if you look at our transition, we are very slow. We crawl. I mean, if we have any day we play against aggressive, fast, transitioning team, we will suffer
Against agriculture.
we will suffer, and they will run us down in no minute, and you will see the most exposed Gambian team ever, because there will be nothing left in your tank to defend.
That's right.
Because the way you manage this game, saying that, yesterday I was in my office and I looked at the team. I have the nice picture of the team that played Cameroon in the last AFCON. And before. And I can only name 2 players. This is also the fluidity of a national team. A national team is not a club team.
Yes.
You just oppose every game, every now and then.
It's kind of experimental.
It's always experimental. So you don't come and have a fixed team like we used to have, because we have few number of players. Right now, the coach being the coach, as he said, you know what? I only select people on merit who are on top of their games.
That's right.
But if we are used to certain people, certain players who we believe, and this is what most of us fell foul of, whatever his selection criteria goes. No, he should select X. The selection is his.
Yes.
But if he selects somebody and the guy fails to deliver, that's when we can also pounce on him.
Of course.
But is it because he wasn't performing and he selected him? No, because the individual failed to show up on that given day.
Exactly.
And this is a problem.
True.
That match I only saw Omar Colley and Ibo Adams, who were featured in the Thursday's game. And for the entire squad, the game we played in that was in Cameroon.
In 2021.
The 2021. And coming down, you have all these players in there. The entire 9 or 10 of them are out of the squad. So you have new players right now we have to deal with. Are they up to the task of really knowing, as Modu mentioned, you must show what is it to be committed to the national cause.
Exactly.
There is no way of putting it. You must be prepared. I'm sorry when I say this thing, people get it, to break your leg.
Even the transformation of the team should be gradual. You think it was very prompt?
No, I mean,
in terms of the number of players that
it depends on the performance.
No, it's not that they were not selected, because you can look at the goal. James was not there. Ibu Ture was in there. Noah Sonko was in there. Solmar was in there. Yusuf Bob was in there. Ibrahim Akoli was in there. Abdullah Jallo was in there. Badamosi was in there. Let's look at all these players, and these were the cream, as Sisi, who were there to do these jobs. All of them, I don't want to say that they faded out.
Yes.
But they're substituted.
Yes.
Probably they might not even coming back, because there's an advent and a new generation of players that the coach is trying to introduce in the long term.
Yes.
Why the long term? Because we talked about this campaign.
Yes.
This campaign is, let's say it openly, it's over for us. But let's say formalities, we have to complete the fixtures as we go and avoid any sanctions or anything. Yeah. But coming to the next qualifiers for the AFCON,
exactly,
that is what I believe McKinstry is working on. But nothing like this World Cup for next year in America and Mexico and Canada. Yes. I don't think so. Probably the next AFCON after Morocco.
Yes, probably. Gadega, so Musa, I was just touching, I was going to ask you. Definitely in real terms, yes, we may be in mathematically. But if you look at it now, we need miracles to win 5 of the matches left and hope that...
Which I don't think it's going to happen. No matter miracle can happen in football, but not with the way we play, not with the kind of team that we select and, the performances that we've made previously. And if you look at it, for me, these World Cup qualifiers, yes, the coach is on experimental basis in terms of the player selection and also how he wants his team to play. Let him use it as much as possible, but also it will be equally important to get some very good points for our remaining matches. It will help our World Cup ranking.
Exactly.
And those rankings help you to be part of the seeds, the teams that are seeded for qualifiers, even the next AFCON. Imagine in the last 2 AFCONs subsequently in the qualifiers, we are ranked as the bottom seed team in our group. In fact, like the lowest ranked team in all the qualifiers. Wow. So that's not going to help us. That's definitely not going to help.
Going back to, because I was in Tanzania when we played both Burundi and Ivory Coast in the first. These are the first matches of the qualifiers. And Burundi was a match we should never have even lost.
Exactly.
Which we lost.
We said so.
Ivory Coast is just one of those the favorites in the group.
That's right.
But if you look at the remaining teams in the group, we can do ourselves justice and earn the respect that we need as a team that has been counted and failed not to disappoint the many who would love to support us and be with us. By at least the remaining teams, we can beat them all.
That's right.
On paper, we have the best team besides Gabon, besides Ivory Coast in the group. F.
Yes. By virtue of
the leagues where our players are playing, besides Ivory Coast, we are better than anybody else in the group. All the remaining 5-6 teams.
Exactly.
5 teams. But how do we translate that into what we are?
Let's go to off the pitch matters, because we have how do we say, an elephant in the room.
Yes.
People said the lack of a home ground could have affected the team's psychology and of course tweaks their performance.
Yes, I won't say to some extent yes. We've not actually played at home
for a very long time.
For about 5 years.
Getting up to 6.
And sincerely, it's not good. And I trust government will do something. If the Independence Stadium is not fit for purpose according to CAF and FIFA, let's please go to the Strasbourg football field, improve it, upgrade it, right? Work on it. Within a year, we may be able to play some of the matches there. Why did I say Strasbourg? Because they've got the land. It's very close to the ocean. And definitely if, and only if, the former Sheraton Hotel is government's property, they renovate it and then we can be using it for our campaign. Look, football or sports is both psychological and physical.
Absolutely.
And most of the time you win games psychologically. So really, if not for anything, the fans are behind the team and they can't continue watching them on the screen. And you look at it, even in Ivory Coast, you tend to have more Kenyan supporters there than Gambian supporters.
Yeah.
And Kenya is further down.
Champ, if you ask me, because knowing something very well about the stadium, it's unfortunate what happened to us. We have to be honest with ourselves in the sense that this stadium has been here for a while as a multi-purpose stadium. Football stadium. And secondly, football has changed seriously over the years. And it has become more scientific, more commercialized, and more health and safety security oriented. In entire stadium structures around the world, and this has caught up with the governors of football in the CAF and the FIFAs. Hence the reason why they have initiated all these new regulations required for grounds, which our stadium was never meant for. You remember we talked about this thing that it doesn't matter what your stadium used to be or what it is. It's what you have. If you have to play your international game, whether it's Brazil coming into your country, that's why you take them.
Exactly.
But that's no more
the case.
Exactly. No more the case. Now, recently what happened with, of course, I know these things because it's authority.
Of course, you are a member, the Secretary General of the African Sport Association. We should be on the board of the Independence.
What has happened lately, of course, caught everyone off guard by, that as a football house and, of course, the government and ministry with regards to the stadium. Now, the most recent of requirements that has been piled on government to change the stadium is that firstly there needs to be more entrances. That means the walls of the stadium needs to be broken into 6 different areas.
So it means we should just get a new stadium.
I'm coming. For example, the VIP entrance should have at least 4 more gates, the size of the ones that's there already.
For security and
for easy movement of player stampede, and that's applicable to all the west end, the east end, the north end, and the south end of the stadium. Yeah, that's one.
And how many exist right now?
It's just one each. It's 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The hostel end is not much used.
So it's
but on the K-Real side, it's only 1. The Bakau end is 1. The VIP entrance.
So you need 3 more.
You need 2. You need 6 more. On both sides.
Because so far we have only 6. Is it 7?
Only 3. No, we need 6 more. 2 on each side.
Wow.
So the walls needs to come down with massive gates being open there. That's one. Inside the stadium itself, because it is a requirement by CAF and FIFA that in case of an emergency, spectators should be able to get down to the ground.
Pitch. Wow.
So now you need 16 stairs.
16 stairs.
16 stairs to come down to the ground.
So let's check the VIP area has 2. Is it?
VIP has 2. But you need 2 on both flanks.
Wow. So you did another 2 there.
You need 4 on both flanks and all on the other side. Now, the ground is also another thing which has been, because we all look at our ground. Looks good to the eye. We say it's playable. Of course, it's playable. By my standard, it's playable. I'm not at that level. Now, what has happened is that money has already been, contractors have already been identified for this thing, and work is going to start
for the ground.
For equally for the ground also. They sent in a consultant. They asked for the sprinklers that are needed. It's a French institution, a French company that's going to work on all this. Hopefully by June it will be done, and the ground will completely be revamped with all the requirements. Because government has already provided the funds for it. Contractors identified, and job equally with the tracks for the athletics. The athletics track will also need to be.
And now there's a consultant from CAF.
Yes, CAF has identified somebody to work on this thing with the French company to make sure that everything is in place in time.
Can I ask, with all this, Musa, will that be cheaper than getting a new stadium?
Of course, it's cheaper than from
people say new stadium. If I can jump in here, the minimum that would require you to get a standard stadium is $50 million.
Well, how much is $50
million in dollars?
That is how many billion, you know.
$50 million. I mean,
on the roadside.
to have a stadium that is like playable.
I know we're all passionate about this thing. Of course, if we can have a new stadium, well and good, we would love to. But as a country that has resources scarce, as you know very well.
Well, you are from the private sector. Can't you invest in it?
What cost us to get the conference center?
Yeah,
so we will have to go to the Chinese and change again.
So bilateral cooperation.
But
you know, the thing is, the government doesn't want to take any loan in building a stadium.
That's right.
We talk about Senegal stadium and those very comparative.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't work like that. That stadium is not even good for Senegal as we speak.
But is FIFA not also supporting?
I don't want to go. I mean, FIFA doesn't support to build your stadium. It gives it parcel. It's a parcel. I mean, they put in something for you to also add something to it to fix
it. Able to do that.
So sometimes, we're all.
But that's why you're here.
Are you really? No, but this is development. This is development. That's what
you have here, so that the viewers and the listeners can actually.
So we can hope that by June, perhaps.
Yeah, of course, by June we will get a new stadium. Now, what I want to like authorities.
The renovated one.
I got you. It's a new stadium. And we can wait. And
finally, we have the under 17 finally going to Morocco for the AFCON under 17. We're known to have done very well in this competition in the last 15 years or so ago now, 20 years perhaps. How is this team now? I mean, Gajaga, you familiar with their preparation?
Gajaga may come in, but before that, he and I were even discussing outside about even some of the players. You see, when we talk about aid doctoring, it's to help the players. It's about even the safety of the players. Right now, we can say, thank God, we are seeing schoolboys international in a junior category. Because in those days, you cannot tell me under 17, under 20, and the person is not in any school. It doesn't make sense to me. You can't convince me. I'm a teacher, by the way, so I should know. Musa cannot be 10 years before he gets to grade 1. Even in those days, we don't have many problems. At least by 7, 8, he was struggle and get to a good school. But now you see somebody they call under 17 and the person maybe finished school some years back. But thank God, at least they're now getting young children.
Young children.
And when I say young children, we may still have some age issues with some of them, but it may be plus or minus 3. But for me, let's ensure that our development in sports starts at school level. And that is why when people talk about academies, I wonder where the schools are in these academies. He was a scholar athlete. You've at least been in it. Well, even though your sport may be whatever it is, but I know you are very good at Scrabble and chess. Now, so what we're trying to say is multi-sports is key. Sports is not only there for the health, the wealth reason, but for the health reason. And we know PE, physical and health education, used to be very instrumental in our schools. But now, our school grounds have been turned to structures, buildings. You go to your secondary school.
Now there's a marginalization of PE.
So I mean, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Sport should work together, because PE is about preventive health.
No, PE,
and it's also sports.
I think PE teachers
were
as equally important as other teachers in the past.
It should be.
Alpha was a PE teacher.
Exactly.
Akan was a PE teacher.
That's my thing.
Sebastian Jai was a PE teacher. So at the time there was no discrimination. I mean, they all had equal rights.
Exactly.
Who's better teacher than Alpha?
There you go.
No, you know what?
So yes, let's go on the 17.
So for the U17, what happened was we played in the CAF A, that's the zonal championships, where Senegal eventually won the trophy. You remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Ago. And then it was only the winners of the competition and the finalists who go to the competition proper.
But thank God.
The U17. But later on, they decided to increase the number of teams. So that's the reason why we are kind of reinstated.
So we went to the back.
Well, no, we on merit because we did well.
On merit because we took.
So, like Vicente said, when it comes to the issue of age, it has always been a problem in African football, even the Gambia previously. We all remember the famous 2014 ban concerning the age. So, for now, they go to the schools, they go to football academies, they organize competitions, and then that's where the scouting is done. Yes, they still go through an MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, and then you would have to pass through that to be able to get into the team proper, which I think has been done. Well, some players didn't make it through, obviously, but I think that aspect of it is really, really positive.
I think, just to compliment what Modi is saying there, with everything that we spoke about, the grounds, the stadiums, is what is happening with the selection of, these players from that very age. We were as screwed as most African countries in those selections in those days. So it was, we can talk about ours, but it was prevalent in all African countries. So sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. Cheating was just everybody's business. And still some people manage to cheat.
We got bought.
And that's of course.
About fair play.
It's just what it is. Scientifically, the game has improved, has moved on seriously. Even in coaching itself today, coaching, there are two sides of coaching: scientific and art and arts. So, when we talk about a game against Kenya, the art of coaching, in the sense that what could have changed that game for us was the art of defending and neutralizing your opponent, which we never did. Scientifically, it was the numbers that matters, and we fail on that side. So that never helped us. So on the issue of this on the 17 and what they were able to do, yes, we were doing very well. Yes, perhaps we were never caught or whatever. But I want to believe that we've learned our lessons, and whether we like it or not, we've turned the page. And that's one thing we must commend everybody involved in it. Now you go to the schools. Now we are the smallest. We look at the smallest of teams. Against. When we go to these tournaments,
which is good.
So now it's our Gambians. Yes. So we should comment ourselves. It's very important.
We have two titles in this category to our name. So we will be viewed with.
We've always been by our credibility, our credentials. It's what like most teams today. When you talk about it, it's about what you did in the past. So when you come in, watch them. They were this, they were that, and this is how we analyze all these things. And that's why we it's just like we're returning to where we belong. So I think it's fair enough. We need to consolidate our little gains. Continue reaping some of these things that we have. More importantly, Sean, what we fail to talk about is that sports politics is real.
You remind me of this. This is a CAF Congress. where we saw an earthquake in terms of
Yes, earthquake, yeah, definitely. The presidency, and the FIFA Council. So almost everything went to North Africa, French-speaking Africa, West Africa.
I can't help it. I have to do a piece on it, because knowing some of the players, and I mean, it is real. And what we need to understand is that, just like everybody needs to grow where you are.
That's true.
Recently, why you have these plants in here? Because when you take them, you transplant them and you keep them growing.
There you go.
So that they can bear fruits.
Exactly.
But we do not have the patience to even water our own gardens so that they can bear fruits. We cannot.
Agree.
If you look at the cadre of, elected officials into this new CAF executive, all Maghreb, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, you name them. Into the FIFA executive lecture, the head of the Moroccan Football Federation, is the most important guy in African football.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
He's the budget minister in Morocco. He controls Moroccan finance. He's head of the federation. He sits on the FIFA executive. He sits on the CAF executives, and he is the head of the Moroccan World Cup bid. An individual with endless portfolios, delivering. But we cannot even allow our people to sit on anywhere to make sure that he or she grows. We talk about the likes of Omar Sy. Why was Omar Sy so influential in CAF?
That's right.
Because we allow him to be there.
He had
him to grow,
but he was also
supported him.
But he was also credible. He was
but you don't go in there just to be credible. You stay in there to be credible.
But I'm talking about it. He stayed because of his integrity. Somebody could have been gone there. We see that.
Allow me, but the thing is, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that we must allow our people, give them the support to grow roots, so that they can solidify their in this associations, and then grow. But we don't allow anyone to stay in there. We don't allow anyone to stay in office. And more important, let's be honest. We call it. Let me finish. We call it term limits or this. Not. I'm sorry. This is not a political. But what is real is that
it's even sports political.
FIFA. Where's the term in FIFA? With all these voluntary organizations where you have your stipend, your packs, you serve as much as you can until you say, you know what, because you're doing a good job.
Yes.
And percent GFF brought a term limit, isn't it?
But because people are crying.
I don't get that now.
I got your point. Let me say this. I think for me, term limit or not, accountability is key.
Oh yes.
But sadly, we have challenges. Now you just mentioned about this Moroccan minister who's also the president of the FA. Now we talk about government interference. So in Morocco, is there any government interference because they have enough money? No. So this is what I'm saying. So I think what we're trying to say, the reason why we are saying this is we have federations or stations here that wouldn't want government to know anything and everything they're doing. Because with them, the money is not coming from government. No. Excuse me.
That doesn't work.
Excuse me. What I'm saying is, when we talk about accountability, it's about self. All right? We know. We have the National Sports Council. But how many associations go through the Sports Council to reach to the ministry? Some go directly to the ministry. That is definitely against the law. It's not right. I agree. But what I'm trying to say here is, sometimes people look at the individual, not the institution.
Exactly.
Individual institution says. Now, when you start your work, you speak for yourself. And the reason why we say this is, yes, there are some who may stay long in African sports, and they are still there.
Yes.
Because maybe what they are doing is not what I am doing here, and my staying longer may actually be affecting us more. So this is also another issue.
Very right.
So unless people really see, as he said, credibility in you, integrity, because you speak to them, you engage them, you educate them, you inform them, you enlighten them, and you are following whatever is laid out. That's right. People are not going to have an issue with you. But it is when maybe they don't seem to see that. Then you have people like Vicente asking questions and you why Vicente asking these questions? I thought they are friends. Was it not be?
It's just one. Omar lasted because, like you said, he had integrity, he had a lot of experience,
and influence.
He had influence. He actually created. He ensured Gambia participated in international
competitions. A classical example of sports politics that has really worked in my time, in my generation, is the repeat of the game between Senegal and South Africa. A game that has already ended.
Exactly.
But You know, when investigations were made, they said the referee had some foul play, some issues.
Yeah.
That game was repeated, and that replay, Senegal won, and they went to the World Cup instead of South Africa. So it's only influence that can bring you that. A Gambia would not get that.
Never have get that.
Burundi wouldn't get that.
Yes.
Even the pitch would have. I was listening to the coach's comment about Gambia's pitch.
He said he came into
I was on those grounds.
was he even right?
I want him to say something.
Was he even right?
Yeah, he was right waiting because he wants to see his team play at home. Even though he has no powers to influence. So, but substantiating what he was saying, I was all those grounds in Morocco and Jeddah where we play those games. Those dressing rooms are just like this cabin.
Okay, sure.
Those dressing rooms were just like these cabins. The new dressing rooms we have right now are just a wall apart.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the ground, as he mentioned, because I walked on the ground, our ground is not playable. So the politics of sports, as we talked about, is real.
So you can't discount the fact that it doesn't actually naturally entirely have to do with the change of rules.
Yes.
But obviously the influence is there. Because you look at overseas and the City Quintus time, our stadium was like what? Like a chicken. But we never had this problem.
No. As I said, the game has changed.
That's true. But the nature
they were here right now. They were here prior to discourage. The rules are rules.
That's right.
It applies to everybody.
I could just said that we have
where I watched a game where Nigeria played against Cote d'Ivoire. The pitch is as terrible as anything that you can see. So for me, it's only influence that the fans
better than many others.
The question now is, where is our influence?
That's right.
That's the question. Influence. Because if influence matters in this, definitely would have been playing our home games.
I want to believe, but equally also, I want to believe that, what is it that CAF is doing right now? CAF is equally helping us to make sure that we upgrade our grounds.
That's right. For the safety of the players,
all the criteria needed to have such crowds.
That is
such a gathering.
Agreed.
But having said all that also, as I said, you mentioned it, influence plays, matters.
Right.
But equally, if you look at, why do we have to go to Morocco to play?
That's right.
For example, why do we have to? Because
it's more expensive.
This is not also you alone. For example, the only expensive thing is the flight, which is equally going to be, if you mitigate that, if you happen to play in Senegal, for example, and it's good we talk about these things in here because it's a myth when people talk about these things in social media and influence others.
Right.
You cannot use Senegal's stadium. No, let me finish. Let me finish.
The one in
You cannot. Because even the Senegalese Football Federation had to put in a good amount of money down before they use that ground.
Why?
Yeah, because it's private arrangement.
it's commercialized.
Yeah.
It's not the states.
Yes.
It's built by the Turkish.
In something like $5 million is $5 million is, for example, for Senegal to be paid before they use that ground.
Yeah.
So it is private owned. Yes. All you need to do one for us is
subvention of the $20 million is given to us for air fares and all things. You want to put them $5 million to Senegal first before you even use the ground. How many people are going to travel from
That's where
How many people are going to It's nothing.
That's the problem.
So at the end, playing in Morocco becomes cheaper because you'll still pay the same allowances, you pay the same hotel,
and the Moroccan FA has a relationship, so they can.
And for those grounds you don't pay.
Yeah.
So it's good to bring it up here.
Yeah, but
so this is communication, effective communication.
Yeah, but if you
nobody says this, how would you know? How would I know?
No, it's true that we always know that Senegal, especially National Stadium there, what they call now, is far more expensive.
Well, I never knew that it's private owned.
No, it's private owned.
So I know many others watching us may not know.
It's a public-private partnership.
So here you are.
The Senegalese
Chamber of Commerce and Industry team up with the government to get us a new stadium. All the problem of renewing our stadium or renovating it every time we have a campaign is not tenable. Get us a new stadium. That's a multi-purpose one, not just for football. When I'm talking to the viewers, and I know Kirfatu and the Brunch have a lot of viewership. Gambians in the diaspora, please invest 50 million in this stadium. They can do it. 1,000 alone in the diaspora can take care of it. And you know, I know you. Yes.
The always have different caps. In the studio,
Yes.
it is seedling.
It is a seedling. This one is passion fruit. And Google it, you'll get to know more. And this one is soursop. The reason why we are doing
What is the local name for this?
this
So
one
this is something about scientific name.
in Wolof, Sunko is
Well, I know it now. This one.
fruit is not common.
Exactly. But then it is nutritious and medicinal. Why this? Because this year, you know, it's World Radio Day.
Yeah.
We talked about radio and climate change.
Climate change.
And for me, before the advent of television for some of us, so we need to start doing this, especially on our birthdays, on anniversaries. The country celebrated 60 years. I would have expected tree planting all over, all ministries, all institutions.
Right.
Why? Because in the next 5 years, we'll be reaping the fruit of our labor.
So I'm intervening here. We're intervening there. We are planting 250,000. Yes.
Congratulations! So please,
This year, next week we are doing 250,
there you go.
and then from there, then we go out to.
Thank you very much. Now, in that case, they will actually be definitely not only promoting the environment, but also employing young people. Who will be involved in the planting, working with the
agencies.
So there is a lot in place.
It was very popular in the first.
That is what I'm saying. Now, what we're saying here is we all complain about banana. You go to the market, ask for the expensive orange. You know what I mean? This very own soursop, avocado, among others. They are expensive because they are imported. So if we each have one in our backyard, you will not have a problem. And I'm not an economist. He knows better.
No, I'm not the economist.
The more demand and supply depends on the need. So, okay, if the demand for something is there and the supply is not there, it's expensive.
But Vicente, you just mentioned earlier on when you say, this thing's expensive.
Exactly.
Expensive.
That's
So
right.
anything that's imported into your country comes at a cost.
That's right.
And that cost you don't determine.
Exactly.
I have my product,
And you're into business.
into business. This is how I sell it. You want it, you buy. You don't want it, leave it with me. If you want to enjoy rice, when you want to grow rice,
They should stay here.
This one, both of them are staying out. Musa and my brother can take their own. We plant this. One of them is going to Kirfatu, the other will go to Credit Standard. You know, the other goes to my brother, Martin Boboya. No, you get it. Now, the reason why we're doing this is honestly, besides climate change, resilience, and adaptation, these are food crops. We all will eat them. And definitely, this issue of mourning and groaning should stop. If you can solve a problem, solve it. This is what I think I can do.
Thank you.
Thanks with others, we call it the Go Green generation. Going green in what we eat and going green in our environment. And that's what we should be doing.
You can't get it wrong.
Yes. This is where we grew up from. So we should continue. So we also have a lot of cashew trees. You can trim some and plant some of these, exotic fruit. Even the kaba, the fole, what do you call it? The other fruit can be planted at home.
Yeah.
Because if you have kaba now in the bush,
Shami, you just imagine people have these spaces in their home.
oh no,
Living like that. They don't do anything.
even not face on the road. This can be a flower in your house because it creeps.
Yes.
It's a creeping tree.
Good.
Yes, it could be a flower in your house. Exactly.
It reminds me of my agriculture.
So there you are.
Plant a tree for tomorrow.
Yes.
Today's trees were planted yesterday.
That is very true. Planted tree for tomorrow, today's trees were planted yesterday. So honestly, I believe we should be celebrating ourselves by planting a tree.
Thank you very much.
Because it outlive us.
100% you can't put it anywhere.
Thank you very much, sir.
From Q TV and radio, thank you very much. And Musa, our veteran,
Yes.
thank you all very much. And we wish the Scorpions very good luck. in fact, miracles in the World Cup qualifiers. And the under 17, the baby Scorpions. We won the third title to our name. And the chant too, yeah. That's right.
You have the Brunch before the team. Please provide us with lunch.
We will be back next week. Thank you for your time. Goodbye for now. Good.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
Agada
Mbijan raganya
albaka
mbaka important
yo nga transfer la sto
ya transfer la
ha code nyinji
okay person nsila ID soto
sa soto sorry agada
Mbijan bro
albaka
mbaka
bara alla service o tariaka
mbare
mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka
jannom yona forest de bureau Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere birin koyna fo kato
bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam
ha
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol nko kono kiya bere kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi topoto nin kodi maro jannom number 1 ti nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol dil fana beteat gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelen da
barka ni lafta nyelan kendol e binaji
yalo bu kanyi la ko la barka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
barka